the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Ricard Shiar. Along with Elder Lawyer, we would like to say Shabbat Shalom to all of our brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay. Elder Lawyer and I, along with Yarak, have gone over the details in this specific lesson. That's why it took a little minute. So we apologize for the tardiness, but you're going to find today that it was well worth it. And first of all, again, thank you all for your attendance today. Shabbat Shalom. This is the Most High Sabbath. Now we're going to pray at the end of this, but we're going to jump right in. We're going to jump right in. What is the lesson for today? You got it. Living through the tribulation. Living through the tribulation. We're going to give you all some insight to why everything we're witnessing in this earth is actually happening. Today you'll have detailed prophetic understanding to do what? To help those who believe endure unto the end. Now, speaking of living through tribulation, if you're not one who went through the church or the Christian church, you might be confused to what the tribulation is, according to the Bible. Well, guess what? There'll be no questions to what the tribulation is because we're living in it. Now, according to the Christian church, though, they told us, they gave us through the Jesuit false Christian doctrine what you would call a theory, a Christian theory of dispensationalism. In a nutshell, to give people a time stamp prophetically to know when or around the time Christ would return, with given true understanding that Christ would save his people out of the tribulation. But they would distort the understanding prophetically according to the Bible by injecting their own theory. Instead of dealing with the tribulation according to Christ, the Bible, they would in turn deceive the people to look for something else so that the people in the earth wouldn't know that, or Christians and those who believe in Christ and is waiting for his coming, would get sidetracked and without realizing they're living in the tribulation. Now listen to what I'm saying. Through dispensationalism, they would make people believe that the tribulation period at the very end would not affect true believers. that an antichrist would need to be identified first before the tribulation. It's called pre-tribulation. They would also say that true believers in Christ don't have to worry because Christ would come back, take the church up into heaven, and then the tribulation led through the Antichrist would begin. That's the pre-tribulation doctrine, which came from the doctrine of dispensationalism. So most Christians are not really, prepared for the tribulation. Why? Because their pastors told them there was no need to prepare for it, being that they would be raptured out of trouble. That was the deception of the Jesuits, the Roman Catholic Church. Look at our earth today. And folks, if we're not living in the tribulation, or we're not in the tribulation, then what is this? What is the confusion, the mental the mental health issues, the unbelief, the death, the destruction, the plagues, the total deception? But yet, no church have been raptured. They lied. The Christian church that we see today is a what? A harlot that stems from the whore. The Roman Catholic Church has the ideology, and the Bible identifies the Roman Catholic Church, led by the Roman system, as what? The mother of harlots. Which means all the churches that stem out of the Roman Catholic Church, even if they have a different ideology down the line, is still a part of the harlotry. Hence, the reason why our people aren't prepared to go through this tribulation. But there's light. But there's light. At the end of this, the Most High said he would send light, truth, for those who would take refuge and come together to be saved from the destruction to come, as those who were saved from the deluge. The Most High prepared an ark through Noah, and Christ is our ark. Listen to me clearly. Get your pen and pads together. We're going to break this down. Living through the tribulation. Now, before we go in, let me make an announcement that July 25th begins another installment of our Hebrew and Bible Academy, starting with, that's right, the creation of the universe. And this time we're going to have visuals for each day to actually give brothers and sisters an insight on how it was in the beginning, from the heavens leading to the place we live on now called earth. And there will be a physical illustration of each day. You don't want to miss this particular lesson, as well as the many lessons that we have for 3 months straight that we've worked on and is provided for those who believe in this word and trust in the Most High to learn the true doctrine as it was intended. Okay? Now, there's many other things I want to go into concerning the lessons. We're going to have many new lessons, but I can't do that today because we're already behind the time. But if this interests you, if you haven't been in the academy, you've been missing it. The only thing you would need to do is go to historytimes.org. It's a very inexpensive class for 3 months, every Sunday starting with Elder Lawyer at 9 a.m. with the Hebrew 101. The news, the current news, the news that we can't even discuss here on YouTube. Okay? And because why? If we discuss what's really happening in the news outside of the paid program news, you would be censored, blocked, or kicked off of YouTube altogether. So we kind of figured that, well, okay, we have to pay for our own platform, which is quite expensive. within Ustream to actually be able to tell the truth when it comes to news. Because why? That's right. It's our platform that we've actually paid a lot for. So that we can speak freely without being censored. Well, Shapat comes in with the news, and then subsequent to that, Elder Lawyer and I go through your lesson. The lesson is sent directly to your email. Okay. All the directions on how to get in. It doesn't matter. Some people are intimidated when it comes to this computer stuff. We've made it simple. As long as you read the instructions, you'll be in with us every Sunday starting at 9 a.m. And I'm going to tell you, if you haven't been in the academy, it's more than you've ever thought you would be able to understand. And guess what? You will actually be able to obtain and understand this Bible on almost a theological level. A high theological level you'll be able to understand. Okay? So support us in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. It starts July 25th. Please come in because it supports the work. And on top of that, it gives you understanding concerning the Bible, true narrative. Now, let's go straight in, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Now, we're going to be using extra biblical text today outside the Bible to give you some understanding. Okay? We're going to be using books such as the Book of Enoch. We're going to also be using the Apocrypha, which is in the original King James Version Bible, the Book of Esdras. And we're going to be also using in the pseudepigrapha of the Old Testament, 2nd Baruch. The same Baruch that has Baruch 1 in your original Bible, the King James Version Bible, along with the Bible itself. Okay? Now, the Bible is the reference book. This is the book, this is the foundation from whence we bring all the information, but all the records I've just mentioned is broken down in the academy, and these books are the books that the Bible refers to. Okay? This way you can get a complete dynamic illustration and understanding through precept. Because the Bible, our Hebrew forefathers had more records outside of the 66 books called the King James Version, and we've studied them all, and we're now introducing the information to give you the true doctrine. Okay? To prepare God's people, kingdom people, to get through this tribulation. Now, Elder Lawyer, before we go anywhere, let's go into the book of Jasher. Let's go into the book of Jasher. Because right before the flood, go to Matthew 24, where Christ says, as in the days of Noah. As in the days of Noah.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 37.
Come on.
But as in the days of Noah, or but as the days of Noah were,
as the day of Noah were,
so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. The Son of Man is Christ. So it's saying for those who believe in Christ, as it was before the flood in the days of Noah, it shall be before Christ is coming. Now, a lot of people are confused to last year under the quote unquote, and we're going to go into that, under the quote unquote virus or corona. You were probably confused to the fact that at that time in 2020, the target population before they came out with a cure, okay, if you want to believe that that's a cure, the target was the elderly. It seems like it was all about the elderly, the old folks' homes and the elderly hospice areas and you name it. It was targeting the elderly people, saying, well, okay, the elderly people should be the one more so take the stuff or whatever the case is. a closing down of elderly centers. And at that time, we began to hear of what? An innumerable scenario where elderly people were dying. Well, Christ says, as in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. That's a sign in the tribulation, as in the days of Noah. That's a sign. When the elderly are being put down, and a lot of us, brothers and sisters, we haven't seen the end of this. 2 to 3 years from now, and for those who've chosen to follow what's going on here, folks, we will rarely on this side of things witness old people. Okay? Because it's a prophecy. Yeah, the devil is doing what he's doing down here, but the Most High has a plan. He has a plan to help brothers and sisters, or the elderly in particular, to not go through what's about to happen. Elder Lawyer, let's get the book of Jasher chapter and verse.
Jasher 5:21. And all the sons of men knew how the Lord, who knew the Lord, died in that year, before the Lord brought evil upon men. For the Lord willed them to die, so as not to behold the evil that God would bring upon their brothers and relatives, as he had so declared to do.
So the Most High put out a spirit to put some of the good people to rest in his bosom, so that they could not forego the wicked and evil that the Most High decreed for earth. See? So I know a lot of things the devil is doing, but the Most High is taking a lot of the elderly so that they don't go through what's about to happen. That's our God's mercy, as it was in the days of Noah. See? As it was in the days of Noah. It will be. Okay? The same signs leading to the Son of Man is as the days of Noah. So a lot of people, when we begin to lose elderly people and all that, listen to, brothers and sisters, we are not to come down on our parents and grandparents who are being deceived and tricked into this. We ought to have mercy on them and pray for them. And if the Most High take them home, understand that the Most High has a plan to reunite them back with us. Okay? If they do things in ignorance, they're not judged for that. Neither should we judge them for that. And I wanted to put that out there because I've read this and I'm like, well, hold up. They had their time. They made their mark. They brought forth the children of the righteous to fight through the tribulation for them. Our focus is not to blame them. We allow our elderly to rest in peace and finish this fight for them, even if they made mistakes. Even if they didn't have the tutelage and teaching to make the right decision in this time. If they fall dead to anything, and guess what? If they fall dead to anything, trust in the pastor, and that pastor didn't warn them, that blood is on the pastor. They should have known. But if they didn't know, the Most High have winked at their ignorance, and he's going to put them to rest until after Christ returns. So let's not be blaming everyone who don't know any better. Now, for those who've been told, that are in their right mind but have still made that decision, hey, that's on them. But we must have mercy on the elderly. on our elders because they more so trust the youth to direct them. They're digressing. The time of their power has waned. They're more dependent on their children and on others to advise them. So we must have mercy on the elderly. Now, for those who don't understand the book of Jasher, we go into all those books, but I'll just read one scripture to let you know, because some people ask, well, what's Jasher for you new people? Well, Jasher is a book that's referred, that's actually highlighted within the Bible itself. You don't know the true narrative of what happened before the flood without books like the book of Enoch 1, the first book of Enoch, and the book of Jasher. Without these two books, you don't have an in-depth insight of that time to why the Most High had to destroy the earth. You have no insight. As in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Well, how do you know the signs of Christ is coming if you don't know what happened in the days of Noah? Come on, read it.
Joshua 10, verse 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed.
Come on.
Until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher?
Is not this written in the book of Jasher? Jasher wasn't a man. Jasher is the book of the upright ones. It was a record that was left all the way from Adam, all the way Seth, all the way down to Enoch, Methuselah. That's right. And to Noah. After Noah, it was given to Shem. After Shem, Shem gave it to Abraham. And then Abraham would write his accounts to add to that record. After Abraham, Isaac would write his accounts to add to the record. It's like a diary from our forefathers. Isaac, Jacob, we all put an account in the record to hand it to our sons so that we would never forget. We would never forget the righteousness and history of the chosen bloodline and the judgment that's meant for those who oppose us. See? It's like a diary from one father to the next, and it's called the Book of the Upright One. And the Bible refers us to it. See? And with these records translated out of the original Hebrew, we can destroy the lies, the flood that came from the serpent, the Roman Catholic Church. That's right. A lot of you don't know the Vatican means the land of serpent. We can swallow up the lies that have come from the Roman Catholic Church with the original doctrine and narrative to protect our people through tribulation. Now, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
The lesson today, living through the tribulation. I need you now, Elder Lawyer. We're going to go to 2nd Baruch. Second Baruch, and this is in the Pseudepigrapha of the Old Testament. Baruch was an Israelite prophet during the same time as Jeremiah. He was shown many things, this prophet. We're going to start at 20. We're going to start at 25. Yeah. We're going to start at the 25th chapter. Living through tribulation. Now, Christians have no idea what's going on. I'm talking about in the mainstream Christian church, they've been blinded. They have no idea what's going on. They've been taught that there's a time period that the tribulation will actually happen after one man is deemed Antichrist on earth. keep in mind, there will be no one man ever upheld as the Antichrist. That was a lie that was created through the Jesuit order to deceive the people in the last days, to look for a prophecy that the Bible never prophesied. The Bible never said that there would be one Antichrist at the very end. And then after that, the mark of the beast. That's a lie that's a timetable that's been put together prophetically by the deceivers. Okay? So Christians are blind. They don't even realize that they are playing for the other side because they believe that the tribulation is going to happen later. They have begun to fall away. They have begun to operate under Satan's systems because they believe, well, it ain't happened yet. I have time. And through that time, they've given their soul to Satan. So Christians have no idea what's going on here. But I digress. Let's go. Come on.
2 Baruch 25, verse 1.
2 Baruch 25, verse 1. Let's read it.
And he answered and said unto me, Thou too shalt be preserved till that time, till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days.
In the end of days. And folks, we're in the end of days. We're living, and it's going into the last part of the tribulation that was prophesied by Christ. Where Jacob, the children of Israel, will be in such perils that if Christ didn't return, there would not be one Israelite left on earth. The whole target is to destroy the children of Israel before the coming of the Son of Man. That's their plan. Read.
This, therefore, shall be the sign.
Hold up. What shall be the sign?
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth. Now let's break down the word stupor. Here's the key sign. Here's the key sign, brothers and sisters, that we're in the midst of the tribulation or the end of it. What is it?
Stupor.
It's a what?
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
When a stupor shall do what?
Shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
Hold on, I'm grabbing something here. Let me get it here. 1 second. Let me get it because I need to show you this. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
When a stupor shall... Here it is. Let me show it on your screen. Let me show it on the screen now. When a stupor, go on.
Shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
Shall seize the inhabitants of the earth. Folks, I need y'all to check this out. Let me move it over here. A stupor is the lack of critical mental function. Check this out. The Bible gave Jeremiah this, brothers and sisters. A half a millennial before Christ was physically on earth, before he was born in the earth to die for our sins. The stupor is the lack of critical mental function. See how they started going into mental health and focusing on destroying our minds? Stupor is the lack of critical mental function and a level of consciousness in which an affected person is almost entirely unresponsive and responds only to intense stimuli such as pain. The word derives from the Latin stupor, numbness, and insensibility. The spirit of what? Not caring. Not caring. So when y'all think, and guess what? The sign of this is to have the leader of the free world with signs of serious cognitive issues. Showing, and that really exemplifies or highlights what? The people he's leading. See? You'd have someone in position with cognitive, serious, noticeable cognitive issues. As an example of not the strength, but the weakness of the country or the people of the country he's leading. Stupor is the lack of critical mental function and a level of consciousness. And as you can see here, it's showing what? The sign is a nurse looking over a person with serious mental issues. A stupor, a numbness. And one side effect of this all, brothers and sisters, is what? When people get the stuff, they begin to get headaches. I showed it last year, and they took that particular video down. Folks, I showed last year where you would have a person there with the CIA saying that they're going to come up with an injection that will target the God gene, the mind of people, to numb them. Okay? To numb them, to destroy the God gene, to have us, what? Desensitized in connection with God. Confusion. Someone said it. Brain fog. Okay? Not being able to operate with a certain level of clarity is what we're under now. Stupor. A state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
He answered and said unto me, Thou too shalt be preserved till that time, till the sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth and the end of days. This therefore shall be the sign.
Hold up now. Here is the sign. Come on.
This therefore shall be the sign.
What shall be the sign? Come on.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth.
And they shall fall into many tribulations. And again, when they shall fall into great torments.
When our people shall fall into great torments. Now, you can't tell me that something as big as what was reported last year that we're under right now, how big that is, that it wouldn't have some biblical or spiritual significance. It would have to be something this great. It would have to be something of what? Biblical proportions. Stupor. Under the health line, what is a stupor? Stupor can be a serious mental state where people don't respond to normal conversation. Instead, they respond only to physical stimulation. You notice we're in a time where people can't think straight, but what stimulates them? The flesh. They'll only respond to the flesh. The only time they get it together or can have it together is when they're in a physical act of lust with another person. They know every nut and bolt and what to do when it comes to the physical. But when it comes to cognitive, common sense thinking, totally confused. Instead, they respond only to physical stimulation. As to pain or rubbing on their chest, which is known as sternal rub. Listen to this. Another word for stupor is obtuned. What are the symptoms of a stupor? Folks, someone tell us, what are these? What is this the side effect of? What does these side effects sound like? Listen, someone experience, this is different from someone in a coma. People in a coma can't be woken or aroused at all. Here are the signs of the stupor. Abnormal breathing, such as breathing too slow or too fast. Is this not one of the symptoms that they claim that they have tied to coronavirus? Abnormal breathing is a symptom for what? The virus. Abnormal breathing, such as breathing too slow or fast. Muscles contracted in abnormal ways. Pupils that are wider or smaller than normal. Pupils that don't react or change with exposure of light. There are many causes of stupor. Alcohol intoxication, brain aneurysm, brain tumor, carbon monoxide poison, cardiac arrest, delirium, dementia, drug overdose, brain infection, head injury. All of these focusing on what? The cognitive operations of a person. Respiratory arrest, seizures, stroke. A lot of this stuff we're hearing right now is what most people are exhibiting after taking the stuff. What's not being reported is all the side effects of a stupor. That information is being suppressed. Now, if your mind that the Most High have given us, this great brain of ours, is being suppressed and attacked, who's controlling our impulses? You're going to find that all out together in this lesson. What happened last year was the sign of the stupor. The attack on the cognitive or the lack of health cognitively on the people. An attack on the brains and putting someone in position who clearly does what? Is the example of it. that the sign of the stupor is here, according to who? Our prophets. Come on now, let's go, Elder Lawyer.
When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations.
They shall fall into many tribulations.
And again, when they shall fall into great torments.
And they shall fall into great torments. Come on.
And it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one doeth no longer remember the earth.
So people in the earth will do what? Read it again.
And it shall come to pass when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation.
So much confusion and tribulation and pain.
The mighty one doeth no longer remember the earth.
The people will begin to think in their minds that God have forgotten the earth, or question whether he ever existed at all. Satan's plan. See? You'll look at all the confusion that's going on. The elderly dying and can't do this and can't do that. Wear a mask, do this, can't travel. To a degree where people will begin to what? Feel powerless. To a degree where the brothers and sisters, people all over the earth will begin to question, if there's a God, how can he allow this earth to go through what it's going through? See? These are the people who haven't been taught about the true God of the Bible. They don't realize it's an entirely different component operating, a God force controlling this earth outside of our God. Only those who understand see what? Both dynamics. And through this, our faith is what? Strengthened. Because our God told us what the fallen ones would do. And we're not to fall to the stupor that was created in the earth by the fallen ones. They're targeting our minds to control our bodies. Listen to what we're showing you here. The first sign would be a stupor. Well, you've seen that sign last year. We're living in it now. Where there's no story on earth that'll come out unless they can tie in this stupor with it. There's no independent story unless this story is added with it anymore. Right? Because the stupor will be used to control all narratives, leading to the mark of the beast. Okay? Come on, let's go.
Yea, it will come to pass when they abandon hope.
All people, the people who don't believe really, the people who didn't trust in the Most High, would begin to abandon hope. Read.
Yea, it will come to pass when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake.
That the time will then awake. That means the righteous, those who could see, those who have been waiting for the coming of our Lord and Savior, they're going to be totally focused in, honed in. They're going to be like, whoa, I see now. This is what's really going on. That's when the righteous will begin to raise their head. Those who are really waiting for the coming of our Lord and Savior will now work in this earth to bring the kingdom forward. And hence, brothers and sisters, why our people are the people that are mainly being targeted with this. Not that it's not affecting the whole earth, but we must be the target because now the awakening has happened. Guess what? No ignorant, no servants. Think about it. If you're an Israelite, you know we were born to rule, not serve. No servants, no empire, no dominion for the Gentiles. So now that we've begun the awakening, they have to target as many that are still under the cloud of confusion as they can to keep us enslaved. But then an awakening will happen. What's great about this awakening is these are they who fall under the hedge of the Almighty, and the Most High is letting them know, you better not, you don't even think of touching them. Okay? If they're not under sin, if they're not subjected to sin, you cannot go near them. Sin gives you access. But if these people hear my voice and follow my word and turn towards me and keep my commandments, the rules of engagements are what? You cannot touch those who have put on the white robes. So that's the rule of engagement, folks. There's a number of people who have awakened in this earth that Satan and his evil ones cannot touch. But you give them access to you if you're subjected to the sins by breaking the law, statutes, and commandments given to Moses. Come on, other lawyer, let's go.
26 verse 1. And I answered and said, will that tribulation, which is to be, continue a long time? And will that necessity embrace many years?
Will this embrace many years?
27 verse 1. And he answered and said unto me.
So this is the Most High communicating with the prophets concerning us in this time, folks. Because Baruch didn't have to go through this time. They're actually talking about the time of tribulation we were born under, that we must fight through and live through. Come on.
He answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided.
Into what?
Into 12 parts is that time divided.
Into 12 parts is that time divided. Into 12 parts. Now, when it says into 12 parts, most people would try to look at it and say, well, it's this time period to that time period. That's number one. And this time period to that time period, that's number two. To try to get some type of chronological line to understand when Christ will return. No. When he says it's divided into 12 parts, it's not like the Jesuits putting a doctrine of dispensationalism and saying, well, this, and this is going to happen, and then Christ is going to return. No. It's talking about signs in the earth. Not a timeline and specific. But it tell you these 12 things will happen within the last 49 years leading to a 50th year or jubilee. Okay? Right now when it says what? Read that last piece again, elder lawyer.
And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided.
Into 12 parts is that time divided. Now we're going to give you that time later. But we ought to look for 12 things in the earth who would be immediately affected, adding to that stupor that would lead to what? The righteous being separated and the wicked being destroyed. These are the things you must see as signs leading to Christ's coming. 12 separate parts. We're going to break down the parts right now. Read.
And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided.
Come on.
And each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions.
In the first part there will be the beginning of what?
Commotions.
The beginning of commotions. Elder lawyer, go to Matthew 24 and 8.
St. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 8.
Now, only those with eyes to see would understand. If you're triggered strictly off of stimuli, you're being moved through all these different signs without understanding what they are. So through that, people who don't understand this as signs are confused and are being tossed and totally destroyed. They're being tossed from one event to the next without understanding what it is. Oh man, Corona. Let me put on a mask. Let me do this. Let me do everything the government tell them to do. Everything that's out there, they're going to follow because they don't understand what it is. Okay? They don't have a trust system with the heavens. So they'll be moved from one thing to the next. The first is what?
It says, in the first part, there shall be the beginning of commotions.
The beginning of commotions. That's what we are to look for first. Elder Lawyer, let's read Christ, Matthew 24.
Matthew 24, verse 8.
Come on.
All these are the beginning of sorrows.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Read.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted.
Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted.
And shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
And you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And I went to Christ because all the commotions at the end of the day leads to them coming after the elect, those who can see. So you're going to have a lot of commotions going on, wars, rumors of wars, and brothers and sisters aren't going to realize all of these commotions and things are a sign that what? That Jacob's deliverance is near. It's like Satan throwing out all these distractions where the people in the earth cannot get what? Any level of solitude or clarity. Today it'll be one thing and tomorrow being a whole nother thing where the people, there's no rest amongst the people anymore. It's one dynamic, one grand catastrophe or event after another. Sounds like we're living in that, right? Soon as you thought we've gotten over just what happened last year and things begin to open up where now you don't got to wear the mask or nothing. Nah, we will not have any rest or total rest in our minds until Christ returns. Because they're going to just ring the bells and the whistles and all that to keep us confused. It will be one catastrophe event after the next. The beginning of commotions. We're going to always hear, one, about some fights or commotion. Number one, within that time span. Read.
And in the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones.
In the second part, you'll always hear in the news and others about the slaying of the great ones. People die all the time. It doesn't matter what race of people. But do you notice it's a big story when a black man is killed by a white man or by the system? You notice that? You will hear stories of the children of Jacob, particularly Judah, being killed unjustly. It'll become a big story. Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin. See? Slaying of the great ones. It will become regular news. The persecution of the children of Judah. Okay? George Floyd. A knee on the neck. Mom, help me, save me. And the whole earth reacts. Why are they publicizing this when all races of people get killed unjustly every day? It's a sign for us. We'll hear about Judah or the children of Israel being killed. Not just Judah. Not just Judah. Haitian assassination, allegedly involving Americans and retired members of the Colombian military, officials say. One of the very rare poor countries who were able to stave off the French in war. Levi. And you have a lot of these presidents and others are seeing that what the plan is well beyond what they signed up for and are pushing back. So now we're seeing a sign of what?
And in the second part, there shall be the slayings of the great ones.
We're going to start hearing in the news the slaying of the great ones. Another sign. Even when you look back in other generations, Christ, all up into the disciples, these were all black men who stood for justice. Okay? From Christ all the way through. Then you look at what made international news. Martin Luther King, slayed. Malcolm X, slayed. A sign. Even till this day, you hear about great men, children of Israel, who were taken out before their time. A sign. He told, the angels were telling Baruch, here's the 12 things we must look for to know that Christ will save us at the end of it. Not no, let's wait for one guy to pop up to be an antichrist. How ridiculous is that? While they're slaying the great ones, we're still thinking that an antichrist will pop up one day to slay the great ones? We're under that tribulation. Come on.
Yes, sir. If I read this real quick.
Yeah, and they killed the Tanzanian president. Yeah, Elder Lawyer.
Revelations 18:24.
Come on.
And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth.
And read that again.
And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth.
Led by who? The Roman Empire, who through 3 horns made the daughter of Babylon. And in the daughter of Babylon, which is prophesying, was found what, Elder Lawyer?
And in her was found the blood of prophets.
The blood of prophets.
And of saints.
And of saints.
And of all that were slain upon the earth.
And all of God's people who were slain upon the earth. This is why at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they put out there concerning the earth. It's us in the bullseye. At the end of whatever campaign they have, bait and switch, at the very end of it, it's a black man and a black woman as the face of it. And they're doing it under the guise of philanthropy, as if they're helping us. It's the bait and switch. A lot of people thought HIV and AIDS was about gay white people, didn't you? This is why our people didn't pay no attention to it. Until a basketball player about to retire anyway comes out and say, oh, I got HIV. At a time where saying you had AIDS was a death sentence. And here I seen the brother Magic Johnson the other day. He looked healthier now than he did when he announced he had HIV. You see the public bait and switch? They'll put it out there knowing that its target's population is the children of Israel. They just think we're so dumb that they can put up someone of influence to convince us that it's our issue too. See, that's how dumb they believe we are. And it always intertwined with all of their scenarios are the pharmaceutical companies to come with the answer to their Hegelian dialectic. Here's the problem. There's HIV. Did you get tested? Did you get tested? See? And then next you know, every billboard poster and everything will have a black man and a black woman as the face of something that started with white gay people, as they claim. That was the bait and switch. The plan always is where it ends. Okay? People talk about the Tuskegee. They want you to focus on the Tuskegee. They've been testing on our people since the day we fell. Since our homeland, Jerusalem, fell, they've been testing on us and using us as guinea pigs. When you see the posters and all that at the end of it, you'll understand the plan from the beginning. But they can't outright tell you, yeah, I got a plan to kill the children of Israel. So they have to do it in a way in which we will readily accept the poisons. They'll make you think, well, it's because of this we had to roll it out. But we found in your communities you are affected more by this, so we're going to just focus on you now. See that? You're the focus now. And they roll out this same program over and over again, and there's no pushback because they look to do what? To destroy the great ones who were put here to warn you. That the devil's plan is to outright destroy the children of God. Our people. Come on.
And in the third part.
Let's get the third part here.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
Let's get the third part. In the third part, the what, Elder Lawyer?
The fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. The numbers just increase. The numbers just increase. The numbers over here. The numbers over there. Oh, watch out. There's a Delta variant. Hey, folks, do you know the name of the 5G towers are named Delta? Where's my phone at? Where's my phone at? Let me see if I have it here. Someone sent me this and I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. Let me show y'all, brothers and sisters. The next variant they say that we must pay attention to is the Delta variant, right? So when they told everyone to stay in the house for a few days last year, we looked out and there were 5G towers everywhere. Cameras in places that they weren't before, right? And then they have what you call now, oh yeah, there's another variant. What variant? The Delta variant. Well, let's see if I can pull this up real quick. Bear with me. Let me see if I can pull this up. See here? Let me see if I can pull it up here. If I can, I'll give it to y'all this Wednesday, but I just want to pull it up because it just came to mind.
I'll read this again.
Read it again, come on.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death. And I wanted to put it out there. Why? I got to show you all these pictures this Wednesday because I got to get through this whole lesson. But the 5G towers are called Delta towers. So when they say a new variant, it's to affect those who already has the stuff in them. If you got the stuff in you, now they can do what they with the towers now to now have the people witness the sicknesses as the new variant. The same thing I told you all last year would happen. But I didn't know at that time that the 5G towers were called the Delta towers. The Delta variant is the side effects we will now witness with those who chose to get the stuff. When they rip, they're going to be able to do all types of controls with 5G. It has nothing to do with cell phones in of itself. It's the what? It's the connection between cell phones and everything, including the people on the grid. So the same way they can look at their towers and see how many people have cell phones, well, guess what? Cell phones aren't just popping up anymore. The people who took the stuff is popping up and can be tracked anywhere on Earth right now under the Delta towers. Now, there's other chemical reactions that they can control now with the stuff. And what is that? What are we going to see? Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. We're going to witness this. You're going to hear out of nowhere people just dying. And this is why they ramped up the thing about cremation now. Because there's really going to be too many people to bury, because the majority of our society has been desensitized. To a degree, we don't even feel a need to honor our dead anymore with a proper burial. And instead of going through all these burials one at a time, we're now predisposed to say, you know what? Just burn the bodies. It's just too much for us already. See? A cremation. That's right. A sacrifice to the gods. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
The fall of many by death. Read.
And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword.
The what?
The sending of the sword.
In the fourth part, the what?
The sending of the sword.
The sending of the sword. Okay. The sending of the sword. Right out sending, reacting to everything militarily. Militarily. Okay. Seen yesterday where the woman was being questioned at the White House, the White House press secretary. And they was asking, what is this thing Biden is talking about going door to door? And she says, well, no, this is many of our tactics. And then I said, did she say many of our tactics? She says, no, it's going to be the people they're used to, usually their church. It's going to be a part of their church committee or under their social working program. Those who are there used to actually dealing with that led to them making, that they usually deal with in their community. That's what she said. See, but I can read between the lines. I can read between the lines, huh?
It's the power supply company for 5G.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
She says this is one of many tactics. And I said, many tactics? What does she mean? Tactics. I'm like, that sounds like a military scenario to me. Tactic. Definition. Tactic. The press secretary says, well, we thought about it. There's one in many. Listen, if the majority of people got the stuff and they're safe already and they're protected from those who you've achieved herd immunity, right? So you're safe from people who didn't get it. Why are you focused on those who didn't get it? Because our people aren't as stupid as they think. That's why. There is a lot of our people out there are waiting and seeing. They're under the wait and see category. Okay? The sending of the sword. I need y'all to look at this. The sending of the sword. She says there's many tactics. What you mean tactics? A tactic. The science and art of disposing and maneuvering forces in combat. Why would she use the word tactic? A word that's used in maneuvering in combat. Folks, it's a way in which they can begin to what? Engage for a provocation. Because there's no people doing anything, there's nobody breaking laws. But now you knock on someone's door, and now you can engineer a provocation or a standoff, claiming with the built-in excuse, well, we were there just knocking on doors to see if they were looking to decide to take the stuff. But really, it's a way that they can now begin to engage the population with a built-in excuse. Right? The sending of the sword, and that's also talking about, since what happened in Haiti, they're talking about sending military there now. Folks, they're talking about sending military there now. Talking about they're dealing with two epidemics at once. This is what they're claiming. We're battling two epidemics at once. The chaos that came with the president being killed, and how to control coronavirus at the same time. When really it was about what? That country trying to understanding that loosen their bans or their provisions, seeing what the next plan is for the Haitian people. And you had those in authority that was pushing back. It was like, well, yeah, I agreed to this up until this point, but we're not going to sacrifice our people for you. It's like, well, no, you're not? Oh, okay. What's the next one, Elder Lawyer? The sending of sword.
And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain.
Famine and withholding of rain, brothers and sisters. Hey, the famine is what? You seen it last year where they did a test run. A test run where you go into the supermarket and what? There was a scarcity of food. Now the food was already there. There was no scarcity, folks. They were just in warehouses. But it's acclimating you into the famine that's coming. Because eventually they're going to be cutting things off altogether. That was just a test run. Militarily and otherwise, to get the population of the world prepared for a lack of food. Also, they've already signed the agreements for the total control over water. Water will be a commodity traded on the stock market soon. You cannot trade water on the stock market if you don't have control over all of water. The streams, the mountains, all of these things have been privatized now. And they had us acclimated slowly into that by having us get used to what the Most High gave us naturally and putting it in a bottle. See? This was acclimating us into we were looking at, there's water everywhere. What you got to bottle it for? You know why? Because it's not just the water companies that are going to be privatized. Any source that gives life, Any resource that gives life will be controlled. Reservoirs, and this is why Flint, Michigan, and all that, they poisoned the waters. What you think going to happen now that you're in these great cities and the reservoir where your fluoride is being pumped in to mess up your brain already? What do you think going to happen when they turn off those reservoirs or pump in more stuff through those reservoirs that's even more deadlier than fluoride? It's going to be a lot. We're going to be clamoring as a people, all of us, for water. And every place you go where there's water, there will be gates around it, controlled through military. And they're going to tell you right out, this company owns this area. This land is conservation. You cannot enter this land. Well, I just want, me and my family usually come here in Colorado and get some water right at the springs. Nah. That's owned by who? Who's it owned by? Satan owns it. That's who owns it. Okay? Get out of here. Beat it. That's how they're going to come. They're going to call it some fancy word, Intelcom or this com or that com. A new company. China just bought this area. You can't get the water. A withholding of rain. Okay? So it's upon us to understand the signs and already have our water in tow. If we can get small places and certain pockets and acre here and acre there where we can drill down and get our water, you can have your own place with a tiny house or something there until we move and go do wherever you live, you must have access to what? The means to survive outside of what the government is providing. Okay? An agreement to what happens if things break down. Where will we go to get water? These are the things we discuss amongst our churches in preparation for what's to come. All right? Come on. What's the next one?
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors.
Earthquakes and terrors. We're going to start hearing about earthquakes, terrorism. The other day, this made-up story they put out there, talking about there was a standoff on I-95. The Moors was walking around with guns. They made people, they turned this big thing, cut off the streets, had it where people couldn't go, and all the cops are running out there. They stationed like some movie production out there. And it was guys, regular Moors. Not that I agree with their ideology, but they got the freedoms under America as anyone else, as an American citizen like everyone else. They had their arms on them, right? Wasn't selling or assaulting anyone. And they didn't want to, because they didn't want to be shown as being armed, they had gas in the back of their cars to gas up on the road so they didn't have to stop at gas stations and cause an alarm. One person, probably a Karen, seen them with the weapons and called the cops, and they shut down the whole area of 95. And then guys were like, listen, we did nothing wrong. We were gassing up our cars. But they try to make it they called it on the news a standoff. Like there were some black guys around the car standing off the police. See? What? Give me the last one again, other lawyer.
And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors.
Earthquakes and terrors. They're going to make everyone believe not only just earthquakes going on, and that's happening, but there's terrorists every place that we must be protected from. Oh man, it's a standoff. They won't give us no rest. Regular guys sitting there putting gas in their car. But it was okay for the NFAC, which was actually paid for and controlled through government, to walk around during the time of George Floyd all around with guns without even being able to use them or understanding how to hold them. It was okay, the NFAC, to run around and all that with cops doing nothing. See? But here it is here. Everything is going to become an issue when it comes to us publicly. Targeting the children of Jacob. What's the next one, Elder Lawyer?
And in the eighth part, it says here, and in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and the attacks of the Shadim.
We have earthquake, we have terrors, which is 7, and now we're at 8. What's 8?
And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and the attacks of the Shadim.
Hold up now. We shall see a multitude of specters and the attacks of the Shadims. What is specters, one might ask? What is a specter? Man, check this out. A specter. A specter is a spirit, like a demon. Specter. So there will be attacks of the specter and the Shadim. The specter and the Shadim. What is the attack? The Shadim in the Hebrew are spirits or demons in Jewish mythology. However, they are necessarily equivalent to the modern connotation of demons as evil entities. Evil entities. So we will begin to witness in real time demonic attacks or witness people that are controlled through what? Demonic possession. Now, Elder gave me something, Elder Lawyer, out of the Hebrew. That's why you got to get in that Hebrew Bible Academy. And we took a picture out of the Hebrew Bible to break down the Shadim. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
When you went into the JPL, right? Show them the book we got it from. I mean, the JPS, Hebrew and English Tanakh. It breaks down the Shadim in the Hebrew. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer,
Yes,
if
sir.
we may.
First reading in the English. In Deuteronomy 32, verse 17, to show how it's translated into English, it says, they sacrifice unto devils.
They sacrifice unto devils.
Not to God.
Not to God. So when you go into people sacrificing unto devils and not to God, right? It's speaking of what? Sacrificing people. Read.
All right. In the Hebrew, it says, or reading the English translation, they sacrifice to demons, no gods. In the Hebrew, it says, Yazabakwa, they sacrificed, Lashadyam, or Lashadim, unto demons or devils.
Unto what?
Demons or devils.
Unto demons or devils. They say they can't see it clearly. You can see it clearly now. Unto demons or devils. They sacrifice to them which are not gods in Deuteronomy. So in the Hebrew, we realize what it means. That's a sign of Christ's coming, where we'll be witnessing demonic attacks without resolving exactly what's going on. We're going to deem that these are just independent scenarios from a person with mental health issues. This is how the media is going to portray this, so that we don't realize it's a spiritual attack, which is a sign. Look at your screen. Fair use. Arrest report for Kamaya Teller. This could be any of our sisters. Fair use.
Is accused of killing her own child. Is accused of killing her own child by leaving her in a hot room. Well, police say the 23-year-old Kamaya Taylor told them it was a, quote, necessary sacrifice. Officers say the 5-year-old was left in a room with closed windows and then wrapped in blankets. This happened at a home right near Silverado Ranch in Maryland Parkway last week. The temperature in that room, according to police, was 101 degrees. Police also found her other daughter, who is 2. She, though, right now is in Child Protective Services. Metro says the mother was acting erratically and asked to be taken to an insane asylum.
Now,
with interest rates at historic lows, putting your...
They said she was acting erratically and was told she wanted to be taken to an insane asylum. Now, if you look at her, they're holding her here. Who's behind this woman? Holding her here with black gloves. What's going on here? This woman was probably already under some type of psychological experiment. Who's the guy behind her holding her up for a picture, folks? And she doesn't even look like she's actually, folks, aware of anything. And listen, I don't know. But if someone was to ask me, I would say right out, she probably got the stuff in her. She's one of the people who chose to listen to that, and now she's under some stuff now. But here's the issue. It seems like everything they do at the end of it, they're looking to demonize the children of Israel. Look at this girl. By an article under the Las Vegas Journal. Report details arrest of mom accused in 5-year-old's hot house death. This is why they don't want no men around either. A Las Vegas woman accused of killing her 5-year-old daughter after the girl's body was found in a hot upstairs bedroom with no air conditioning told officers at the time of her arrest that they should take her to the insane asylum. So she knew where she wanted to go. There's probably reports of her actually being under some type of mental health care. But let's go. Kamaya Teller, 23, is charged with murder and child abuse. Her daughter, whose name and cause of death have not been released by Clark County's coroner offices as of Wednesday, was found in the family's sweltering home near East Powell Avenue and South Maryland Parkway on June 28, 7:02 p.m. The child's 2-year-old sister was found alive in the home. A Las Vegas police arrest report for Teller. Police were first called to the home on June 16th on a welfare check for an acquaintance of Teller's reported that she made a vague suicidal threat. Teller stated she was quitting her job. Watch out on the news, police said of the call. Officers went to the home, but they could not find Teller or her children. They were called back to home 12 days later by a neighbor who saw the front door of the home open. Police arrived and found Teller outside the residence. An officer asked Teller where her children were, and police said at first Teller would not answer, but she eventually told the officer they were upstairs in the residence. According to the officer, Teller seemed to be suffering from some sort of mental illness, stupor. Police found the children in a locked bedroom. the child who died appeared to have been dead for an extended period of time. It should be noted that the temperature in the residence was extremely warm, police said. Neither the heat or air conditioning were on, and the temperature on the thermostat read 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Officers indicated upon breaching the locked bedroom door and entering the bedroom, the temperature in the bedroom felt exponentially warmer than the rest of the residence. A humidifier was also found to be on in the max position. Police said Teller was apprehended, then put in the back of a police car. An officer reported Teller making spontaneous utterances. Now, this is what the authorities claimed they overheard. That it was a necessary sacrifice. The attacks of the Shittim and the Shadim. The police overheard that it was that her child was sacrificed. Police said the report witnesses in the neighborhood also overheard. Now, witnesses in her neighborhood overheard what? They say, I killed and claimed to be the son of Jacob. That the demon in her, I killed it. She's talking about the baby. She killed the baby and claimed to be the son of Jacob. They found a way to actually attach this story to those who are claiming to be the sons of Jacob. You can't make this up. So they indirectly use this story of a person that they had a hand in creating her mental illness to turn all of this crazy sacrifice to blame at the end of it the sons of Jacob in the media. Understanding the power of words and media. Now, I'm going to keep my eye on this story because somehow when they started out that way, they may try to now connect her with Israelites. See? When this sister probably had a history of mental illness going back to a child when in school, the school probably convinced her parents to put her on certain psychotics. That's where it starts usually. So what's the next one, Elder Lawyer?
It says, and in the 8th part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shadim.
The attacks of the Shadim. When you look at Shadim, it goes into sacrificing to other gods. Demon possession that are in people coming after our people, looking to destroy our children. Now that attack of the Shadim usually aims at killing children. Folks, even in the womb. Elder Lawyer, get 2nd Ezra 6 and 21.
Second Ezra 6, verse 21.
Come on.
And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices.
It's saying that the Bible prophesied that the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. Read.
The woman with child shall bring forth untimely children.
Hold up. The woman of what?
The woman with child shall bring forth untimely children.
And the woman with child will bring forth untimely children. What is that? Premature babies. Preemies. It was prophesied that women wouldn't be able to, or certain scenarios, where they wouldn't be able to carry their children to term. What they're not telling you, folks, if science can make it where children are premature, they're not. These children usually grow without being fully developed mentally too. It takes a time for them to catch up because they didn't go through the full process that it takes to bring forth, to actually operate as a what? A normal child who went all the way to term. And I did the research on this attack of the Shittims. When you look at the birth controls, the stuff they give the woman, these are the things that cause the untimely child to come into the earth early. That's right, preemies. It's an attack in the womb. All the way to, if they can't get you in the womb, premature, the baby come out premature because the baby was attacked in the womb. And if it wasn't for the baby coming out early, that's right, it would have been a sacrifice. Prenatals and all that other stuff they try to give women, no one is looking at the chemicals that is actually in the body attacking the child. It's child sacrifice, the attacks of the specters in the Shadim. And a lot of these sisters, they'll take some of these chemicals so that they can live free without proof that they've been living free out there. When I say living free loosely, you know what I'm talking about. To go into all these different acts and all that and do all these things to experience their free life and sexual liberty without the evidence it ever happened. Well, there's a consequence for this. Because the stuff you're taking on a spirit that begins to attack you internally, and it's waiting on the child. If one day you do have a baby, you're going to have all types of problems out down there attacking the baby. That's right. Chemically induced child sacrifice. The attacks of the spectrums and the Shadim. What's the next one, Elder Lawyer?
It says, and in the ninth part, the fall of fire.
And the ninth part, what?
The fall of fire.
In the ninth part, the fall of fire. Not just in war, folks. And that's why guess what? I'm recording this and keeping this on my particular computer, knowing that all this internet stuff is going to go down or whatever, or they may not want you to know that we said this before it came out. When they cause all types of issues with this stuff they're giving the people, it may lead to laws being passed to quarantine whole cities so that the people cannot get out and disease others. Okay? And keep in mind, the fix for this will be a rendition. There's going to be a lot of areas they're going to have to drop fire on, claiming they're doing this to save the people who aren't diseased. Closing off cities, doing all types of things, and then doing what? Burning the zombies, folks. Or, as a pretext of war, use war to get rid of them. Either way, the fall of fire is coming with a built-in excuse too. And other countries aren't going to care if bombs are dropped. Listen, we're not going to allow these zombies and all these people to come over and into our areas using airplanes to cause our countries to get shut down. So we don't care what happened to the people that are bombed and killed in the cities, because the disease die with the people. That's what you notice I recorded this. The other country's going to be open, going to say, listen, we don't care about vaccine passports. It's good if they don't travel at all, because this is the haven of the disease. So when you hear of traveling passports and all these things, they're putting a component in place to automatically sever one part of the population to be demonized with the disease from everyone else. So how do we fix it? We get rid of the problem. Fall of fire. Get rid of the zombies. Okay? Come on. Let's go.
And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression.
In the 10th part, rapine, go ahead.
And much oppression.
Rapine and much oppression. Folks, that's going on right now. The children of Israel are under serious oppression. And I'm just checking out what's going on in the midst of the daughter of Babylon too. Specifically. Because this is where they're cultivating this whole thing that will go throughout the whole world. And folks, I'm checking this out. Security guards, everything I'm looking at, and I'm looking everywhere, I'm out there and I'll be checking out how serious things have changed from 10, 15 years ago. And there's not a black man to be seen in any position of influence or financial means. All the jobs, if they are out there, are being given to either sisters or those of other nations. I'm seeing sisters doing jobs these were all men jobs. And I'm talking about mailman. I'm talking about bus drivers. I'm talking about security guards. Every place. I'm like, wait, do the brothers have jobs anymore? How do you oppress a nation? You cut off their financial resources. Specifically, typically, when it comes to the men. That's how you choke out a nation and just leave the women and children. All the places, dishwashers, every place that I normally seen us working in a domestic, in a domestic position, as far as the hotels, every place you go, line cooks. I'm like, where are the men? Where are they, folks? A lot of y'all not even thinking about it because y'all go to a restaurant. Y'all say, as long as the food tastes good. But I'm checking out my environment for many reasons. But then I'm looking over and I'm like, yo, where are the brothers? This was a systematic rendition, moving us out of the capacity to be able to take care of our own. This is oppression. When it was us, it was our hands that built this. We built this. We were all the tradesmen. We were the carpenters. We built the plantations. There wasn't no white people. You looking at white people fixer-uppers and let me give you a house and all that. Them great plantations that were built, the mansions that were built, it was built by our hands. We brought the electricity from Africa to the United States. We built the infrastructure, but there's no example out there to show that we had anything to do with anything. I'm like, it's cold how they did this. Opened up the borders to immigration to give the jobs to everyone else to choke Judah out financially. Empowered the women over them because they know that 144,000 men must be chosen and they must oppress those men. They'd rather give position or temporal position to women to stop the prophecy. Oppression. It tells us in the Bible when God would send Israel out to war, he would say, kill all the men and leave the women and children alive. And anyone understand the Bible will know that this is systematic warfare. And we see what happens when you leave the women to their own vices. Look. They're not empowering women. They're destroying Jacob. They're destroying Jacob. I'm not blaming women either. Listen, when you're out there by yourself, it's self-preservation. You're getting jobs because you got to pay the rent. We don't have nothing against that, but we're showing you the overall plan. What's the next one? Rapine and oppression. What's the next one, Elder Lawyer?
And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
And in the, hold up, read it again.
And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
Wickedness and unchastity. Let me get it here. Wickedness and what?
Unchastity.
Wickedness and unchastity. Wickedness and unchastity in the 11th part, brothers and sisters. Wickedness and unchastity. We'll be seeing all these different signs. Are we not under that sign? Wickedness and unchastity. They have a place online called OnlyFans now, where women can make more money than they've ever seen to prostitute themselves legally under an OnlyFans account. They're sending pictures of themselves, all of that. They're making more money than they've ever seen in their lives under OnlyFans. They've, without telling you, they have legalized prostitution through Instagram and everything else. You have those from the United Emirates, those rich Ishmaelites, sending top money, jets and all that out to sisters from Instagram who are going over there in clusters to party with the Arabs for money. Wickedness and unchastity. No wonder, folks. No wonder they think that they can convince us with wickedness and unchastity. Yeah. They think that they could actually convince us with wickedness and unchastity.
You finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up BOK ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go back to Nate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you fax that thing, I'm using
fair use. Fair use. Girl, you look good when you vax that thing up. If you want to smash with Scott, go on. Come on and get the shot. If you want to go and smash with Scott. See? That's a sign right there, folks. That they think that they can convince us to do this. Now, of course, I'm going to go more so into this coming Wednesday. See, but what you got to start off with is the BLK. The BLK, in our consciousness, when you think of BL, we think of Black Lives Matter. Now, this is an app where people hook up with other people called BLK. Well, I did the research on BLK, which is a faction of the Black Lives Matter LGBTQ movement. And also, folks, this is paid for. This was paid for by the Democratic National Committee. The same people who own Black Lives Matter paid for the production of this video back That's right. Vax that thing up. The same people that is behind Black Lives Matter and all that been targeting our people paid the money to Juvenile, simple as a day's old. And what it comes down to, they went to the bottom of the barrel. They scraped the bottom of hell to find these people to actually convince our people to do so. Again, what does it come down to? It comes down to what? Wickedness and unchastity. Wickedness and unchastity. There you go. I'm going to show you. There it is. Look at it, y'all. Now I'm looking at these people. Juvenile, whatever he's dealing with, you know what he's dealing with. The bottom of the barrel is where we scraping right now. And I'm looking at these sisters. Vax that thing up. Be there for Wednesday. I'll deal with this Wednesday. Wickedness and unchastity, another sign. Let me tell you, the world is laughing. There should not be a sister or brother alive whom they could pay, who would actually destroy the image of Jacob like this. There shouldn't be a sister or brother alive they can come to and say, sell your people to Satan. And guess what? It comes back to the Democratic National Committee. I did the research. They're behind this video, folks. They're behind Black Lives Matter. That's why what happened was the same girl that they claimed was a friend of Black Lives Matter, they paid her off and gave her a place and some money and say, well, okay, job well done. Go ahead with your girlfriend and y'all can run off into the satanic sunset. See? These people are just fronts. The Democratic National Party plus the LGBTQ is behind the app, the meeting app that have produced this particular video, Vax that thing up. What's the next one, other lawyer?
And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid.
Now, here's the whole point. Here's the whole point. At the end of it, brothers and sisters, is confusion. The 12th part is the mingling of all these things that are confusing those who don't understand how close we are to Christ's coming. Read.
For these parts of that time are reserved and shall be mingled one with another and minister one to another.
Come on.
For some shall leave out of their own and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times.
That this is the consummation of the times. So you'll see one thing happen, then it'll just disappear. Another news story come, it'll disappear. To confuse the people who are not looking at the signs. Because if we understood how close we were, everyone everywhere would repent. So here it is. People are going to be confused to what time it is because why? There's no ebb and flow. There's no one sign in particular that we need to see to say all together, let's get ourselves right. There's no ebb and flow, because if there was an ebb and flow to know what sign to look for, everyone would stay the way they are until that particular sign happens. And then they would change. But the Most High, through the prophets, say, no, it's going to all be mingled. Two will come out, earthquakes, and they'll kill the president. And then the next day, it'll be something else. It'll be vax that thing up in OnlyFans. Hold up, let's pull that back. And then it'll be people dying of a different variant in another area. Okay, pull that back. And two of them will be working tandemly on a daily basis to a degree that most people won't even realize. Those were the signs that would show that what? It's over. It's over. Consummation is the end. A lot of brothers and sisters don't realize we'll never get back the life we used to know. It will only get worse. This is a sign that it's over. There is no good old days anymore. We're not reeling this thing back to hope that it's going to be like it was before Corona, before COVID, when families were together. No, because each generation produces a worse generation. If you think this is something, can you imagine a world? The world to come with the children that have come out of this? Imagine a world, I'm talking about in number. I love what's going on with the children that I'm witnessing that's growing up under the knowledge of the truth and in our church. But out there, brothers and sisters, can you imagine the children from these people right now tasked with running the next generation? Where they only have the attention span of 1 minute? It's over. So that's going to be the confusing part. We will be seeing all those things, and because we can't get a bead on it, we're just going to live. It's just about living, and whatever's going to be is going to be, and not realizing a judgment is coming. Elder Lawyer, let's get to the next one.
Yes, sir. 28 verse 1.
Come on.
Nevertheless, whosoever understandeth shall then be wise.
Whoever understand what this is are the elect, are the few who the Most High chose out of this world to lead the world to come. You're wise enough to understand and not get caught up. All of these signs are webs to trap those who what? Those who choose to be wicked and unrepentant anyway. The Most High is putting down some of the elderly so that they don't have to experience what's to come. But these that are in between, judgment. Because they're looking at this as an opportunity of pure freedom to exercise every part of freedom for what? Their insatiable selves. They're looking at this. They're looking at this area of freedom as liberty to sin, thinking there will not be consequences. And the Most High says, "Go ahead, party like it's 1999, with all the signs right before us." No one going to be able to say that. Hold up. Something was different in the earth. That it was all types of confusion and craziness all at once. No one is going to be able to say that. That the Most High through all these signs were what? Warning us. Okay. He told Baruch, here's the signs right now. And at the very end, they're going to be mingled all together. And the righteous is going to be sitting back just chilling, looking at it and said, okay, the Most High said this is going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. So what must I do? What must I do under these signs? Elder Lawyer, to get 2 Ezra 14, 11, and 12.
2 Ezra 14, verse 11.
Read it.
For the world is divided into 12 parts.
The world is divided into 12 parts.
And the 10 parts of it are gone already.
10 parts are gone already.
And half of a 10th part.
And half of a 10th, read.
And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part.
Only a little short space left
Now therefore set thine house in order.
So therefore do what?
Now therefore set thine house in order.
When you see these signs, set your house in order. People have the freedom to do whatever they would like to do, as long as it's sinning against God. You will have the freedom. If you're a boy and want to become a girl, you'll have the science. If you're a girl that want to be a boy, you'll have the science. If you're a person who believe that being in a monogamous relationship is holding you off, okay, and on top of holding you off, you believe that you being in a monogamous relationship is restricting you, okay, read it. Come on. Read that last piece again.
Now therefore set thine house in order.
It's time to circle the wagons. Set your house in order. Because you've been given the rope to be all the way out there. You've been given the boat to drift all the way out without a paddle. The Most High says the righteous, when you see the signs, there's no excuse for you. They're already out there. You said, so one thing we have control over is our house. The Most High told Baruch, tell the people, I'm coming. Set your house in order. Okay? It's going to be free love, free everything. It's going to seem as if you'll be able to operate like this forever. When really, that's right, the clock is about to strike midnight. You're going to think you're out there, and you're going to be so far out there, there's not going to be any way back. Finish reading. Come on.
Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people,
and correct thy people.
Comfort such of them as be in trouble.
Comfort our people who are in trouble, and that's our plan.
And now renounce corruption.
And do what?
And now renounce corruption.
And renounce all corruption. Because even if a government official who's in position have a change of heart in the last minute to try to help his people, like in Haiti, it's too late. Once you sold yourself under a political system, you have to ride this thing all the way out. You don't get all those perks and with all the information, the inside information, and believe you're going to bail out of it. Okay? When you're in one of those positions, you must ride it out. So even if you get a change of heart in those positions, it's best for you to do what? As far as they're concerned, just to bow out. Bow out and go get your change of heart. But if they think you're going to try to do what? Disrupt the program? Hey, they may not even allow you to bow out. Knowing too much. But guess what? You made that house, you must lay in it now. There's no politician out there don't know that they're making an oath with the God of this system. Okay? What do you think you sitting there swearing on the Bible when the Bible says swear not? Every political position is a religious position, or they wouldn't have you make an oath or swear on the book to be aligned with the so-called elite. It's a religious agreement that you're going to swear on the book against the God who said swear not, against the Son who was sent and said swear not, so you can bring yourself into the oath. And once you're out there, guess what? Once you're on the other side and you're privy to Satan's plan, you're locked. A blood oath. So they've chose this world. They've chose all of its splendor to rule and all that under this political agenda. But we're talking to our brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters out there who haven't chosen oath to go with Satan, who've always knew that something was going on beyond the news. And the Most High is saying, listen, you've been awakened for a reason. There's a reason you know what not most can understand. And it ain't just for you to boast that you know it. I've given you the tools in preparation for the kingdom to come. Get your house in order. All throughout societies, when we look at what we're reading here is our prophets in old time warning the people back then. The Most High is merciful to a degree that before he brings a judgment, he'll send forth messengers. And then it's upon you to take up that mantle and say, you know what? The least I can do is have the knowledge of the Most High, apply the law, statutes, and commandments to prepare my family for what's to come. If there's a lack of rain, which is a drought of water, and at that time come and my family don't have water, it wasn't because I wasn't warned. If there's a ration of food out there and the gas is cut out, and now all of a sudden I'm cut up on a line around the corner with one gas station within a 20-mile radius, and I'm sitting there waiting to be destroyed, guess what? It's not on the elders who they warned us. When the gas station was open, when the markets were open, everything. Get your house in order. Have enough food and water so that you're not out there when the mob is going against the government who they at that time will feel that the government have betrayed them. There will be mobs all around the place, mass all around the place, people marching, and folks, not just in America, all around the world. All these apocalyptic movies, they were preparing us to see the mobs against the police with the shields and all that. How long have you been seeing those movies? These are the people that are shouting to the government who now realize they were betrayed and didn't prepare and was used to the government giving them everything. Now they're mad. Where's my welfare check? I don't got no welfare. How my children gonna eat? And they're gonna be out there in the streets mobbing. Mobbing. Because why? This is why they systematically had our people dependent on government. So that we can grow up with a backwards minds believing that food grows in supermarkets. And the only thing you need is a card to this magic card to get everything you need without even working. They have domesticated us to a degree where when they shut it off, we'll be forced to do anything they command. And brothers and sisters, none of you going to be able to say when it all goes down that you weren't warned. You got to have enough food and water that you're not out there during the chaos. And at that time, you have what? You have time to think and to calculate how to maneuver without needing nourishment. It's another thing being malnutritious and suffering without strength because there's no food and water. You're done. So while they're out there malnutrition and fighting and all that, you sitting there with your food, rationing with your family. You already had that plan. And now, what are you doing? You're thinking. And if the Most High got you to that point, you're going to get it to the next point. Believe me, because you're strong enough to get there. And then the angels, for your obedience of listening when a time when most people was having fun, are now thoughts come to you. You know what those thoughts are? It's through the Holy Spirit in your conscience. Okay, you're going to have thoughts. Go here. Call this number. Oh, your phone? Okay. Don't worry about it. Go here and you'll be directed there. You'll be totally moved. The crowd is over here and you're being moved right around it. And at the end of it, we hugging each other. Hey, brother. Hey, sister. What's going on? Hey, come on. What you got? You got cans. I got this. Let's all put this together. All right, what's the next move? Don't worry about it. We got a ship here. We got this, that. We got this, that. Here's the next move. But you're not out there malnourished like the crowd on OnlyFans and people that are just having fun and thinking that it's a party. Okay? One step at a time. Read that part again, Elder Lawyer.
Now therefore, set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
And renounce corruption.
Let go from the mortal thoughts.
Let go from the mortal thoughts. The mortal thoughts is people believing that everything have to be just rolled out for them at every part. Looking for a cushion, someone to secure you. Well, no. Let go of your mortal thoughts. It's time to link into the spirit. It's going to take faith to make it from point A to point B. You make your physical provisions, but make sure that there's a connection with the Almighty and a presence of the Most High in your home. And you can only do this through prayer and keeping God's law. Let go of your mortal thoughts, because this thing is deeper than people. This is a heavenly narrative where the Most High, through all of this chaos, is bringing Jacob through trouble, through his tribulation. Through his tribulation on earth. Read.
Let go from the mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man.
Cast away what?
The burdens of man.
Cast away the burdens of man. Read.
Put off now the weak nature.
And put off the weak nature. This system have purposely engineered weak-minded people where they are offended over everything. The Most High says, put away the weak nature. It's like we have our children operating in the earth thinking that everyone should get a participation trophy. Every little thing is an offense. Put off the weak nature, because Christ said, here's a sign. Many shall be offended, shall offend one another, and give one another up. Why? We're living in a society with a bunch of weak people, where words offend people. Or if someone doesn't do things the way you think they should do them, that's offensive. That's a weak nature. That's a weak, he says, put off the weak nature. Hey, fix it if you're soft concerning everything that happens and you have a problem with everything you see. The problem isn't everything that you see. The problem is your weakness. Put off the weak nature. We're living in a time now where everyone is offended over anything. The weak nature. Come on.
15. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee.
And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy. We focus in regret. We're focused with things we cannot change. And you got people who live their whole life living under an arrested development, going back to the time that they were hurt. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can change about the past. Read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer.
And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee.
And most, you know what heavy, when it says most heavy unto thee, It's talking about people continually living their life and cannot go forward, living in regret. That's that heaviness. Because your life didn't turn out like you envisioned. And now you're living always crying and depressed. And Satan is like, well, okay, I can give you some you want some lithium so I can fry your brain? What you want? You want this zone or that zone? I can give you some drug meds if you want. When Christ says, put your heaviness on him, even if you made mistakes and you knew you could have done it better, there's no going back. Be born again and live again. You have control over what you can do with your life going forward. And so many people look back at the time they wasted and said, you know what? In my conscience, I knew I was supposed to do it this way or that way, but I wanted to live my life. Because I thought the time I'm living in, this body, this time I'm living in, I thought this day would never come. And when that realization began to hit people, more so heavier than on women, it's more heavier on women, because the Most High say they're the weaker vessel. They think all the time. You look back at your life and say, you know what? I was warned about this decision and I knew it, but I needed that moment. And now I have to live out my life like this. And you become depressed, especially looking at other people's lives and all that and seeing what's going on with other people's lives. And you're comparing yourself, and now you become even more depressed. Angry. And the Most High said what? Read it again.
And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee.
Set aside the thoughts that are heavy, because when you start thinking about it, you begin to hate yourself. You can't even stand what you see in the mirror anymore. You'll hate yourself. And Satan is saying, well, go ahead. You might as well take it all the way. There's nothing to live for. Go. You might as well die already. Why don't you put yourself out of your misery? All the stuff that I led you to do in the past. There's nothing to live for now, because your opportunity, the prime years were your opportunity. There's nothing to live for now. Kill yourself. That's what Satan is saying. And Christ is saying, well, no, my brother. No, my sister. I chose you out of all of this. There is no regret, because through me, I lived again, and you can live through me. I defeated death. And through my new life, I'll have you receive yours. Take your cares. Don't worry about it. Get your house together, because in this new kingdom, you'll live forever, and you'll be in your beauty with another chance. In your glorified body with another chance. Don't let the devil tell you that you have squandered your chances. You haven't squandered your chances. You have an eternity. It's just not in this world. And that's okay. And that's all right. Come on, let's go.
And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times.
And haste thee to flee from these times. Let's go back to Ezra. Let's go back to Baruch and end it out.
Yes, sir. It says, and I answered and said, it is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall.
Man, Baruch said, it would be good if people actually live through this. But he says it's good to know that through this, the kingdom is coming. But what?
But I say, it says, it is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come lest he fall.
To see all the prophecies unfold is good. When I see it unfold and I understand it, folks, that gives me hope. It's good that I'm seeing what the Most High showed the prophets, But he also warned what? Last piece.
But it is better that he should not come.
It's better if a man isn't born. Why?
Lest he fall.
Because it's going to be what? Diverse temptations. It's going to be too much stuff out there for a righteous man not to indulge in, or a virtuous woman not to indulge in. Yeah, it's good to see all these things, but look at all the temptation. I don't know. Baruch is saying, I don't know if I want to live with all these options out here. When at one time, and I'm looking at it from my time, where you have to court a person, you have to get to know their family and all that, and to actually deal with the person meant long-term commitment. Now, can you imagine Baruch seeing people with their phones saying, okay, what you doing tonight? Oh, she's a match. He's a match. Text me. Yeah, you want to do dinner? Not dinner. Let's get straight to it. So they're seeing the future like, what? What's going on here? He says it's better that a man or woman is not even born to have to live in a world where temptation is so readily available without any level of commitment. And that's not just with people. What you want to eat today? What you want, Jamaican? At one time, if you wanted Chinese food, you had to go to China. It's one time if you wanted East Indian cuisine, you had to actually go to East India. You can indulge in anything you want 24 hours a day, insatiable. So much to choose from where I don't even know what I want to eat. What I want to eat? Mediterranean tonight? What do I want to eat? So, because at one point we realized what it took to actually be able to put a meal on the table. Animals that had to die. Crops that had to be tended to daily. Food that you actually had to save from the wild out there or didn't have anything to eat. We appreciated our daily bread because we had to work for it. So the prophets are looking out there and saying, you know what? Even though this is cool what I'm seeing in the future, I don't know if I want to be there with them. Too many options, too many doors, too many trap doors. Confusion over access. It's too many things to a degree where no one can settle on one thing anymore. Why people can't settle on one thing? Because they feel something is better they might miss. And the whole time is shortening while Christ is coming. It's too many options and choices, and we can't settle on nothing right now. Because everything is so much in access. Hey, hold up. Can I settle with this person or this person a good person? Well, no, I can't get with this person because someone better might be there down the line. Okay, excuse me. I'm sorry. What? If all these options are out there and at a plethora, why should I settle right now when this person I've created of my dreams could drop in my DMs tomorrow? See? That's Satan. Back then when things are simpler, you got with somebody, you was with somebody, but I'll deal with that Wednesday. But come on. Elder Lawyer, let's get the book of Enoch 37 real quick. And then we're going to go back to Baruch and end it. Matter of fact, read what you got in Baruch, then go to Enoch 37.
Yes, sir. But I will say this also.
I will say this also.
Will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatever befalls in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible.
Come on.
But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which thou hast foretold to me, so do thou show this also unto me, if I indeed have found grace in thy sight. Is it in one place or in one of the parts of the earth that those things are to come to pass?
He says it's going to be in one part or all the earth. Read.
Or will the whole earth experience them?
Or will the whole earth experience them? You notice when COVID happened, when they rolled out that campaign, that they put the whole earth under this particular campaign? You notice that? Because by first establishing the bank systems that the whole earth would depend on, and the earth's economy through the markets that you had to be a part of to actually, trade and be a part of, controlling the servants who are the children of Israel, your country had to be a part of the one world order. So once they had everyone under the banks, when they rolled it out with the finances, food, and all that, every country on some level had to participate in it. So Baruch is asking, hold up, will this be in one place? Or will the whole earth experience this? Read.
29 verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, whatever will then befall will befall the whole earth.
He said this will happen to the whole earth. The whole earth will be under a stupor. The whole earth will actually see all of these signs. Why? Common sense would tell you this. This is Jacob's trouble. And the children of Israel are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Any place Israelites are? That's right. Everywhere in the earth, that particular area will experience this. It's Jacob's trouble. It's the tribulation. Read.
Therefore all who live will experience them. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land.
I will protect those who are found, what?
In those selfsame days.
In those selfsame days.
In this land.
In this land. And eventually, folks, that's the wilderness, the same area. We were there at the mount, near Mount Sinai. That will be the only place, folks. The same place the Most High spoke with Moses. Only place that'll be protected without Satan's influence, without the influence of Satan's program or his new world order. And guess what? If it be the Most High's will, and I know I got a strong, hey, we'll be there. We're working to be there. Okay? Enoch 37 and 38. Before you get that, hold 1 second. We'll be right back with the end of it. Hold tight. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. HistoryTimes.org, July 25th. Go to HistoryTimes.org. You be there. July 25th. You don't want to miss it. All right, Elder Lawyer, let's get Enoch. We're going to read Enoch 37 and Enoch 38.
Enoch 37 and 1.
Come on.
The second vision which he saw, the vision of wisdom, which Enoch the son of Jared, the son of Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, the son of Enos, the son of Seth, the son of Adam, saw. And this is the beginning of the words of wisdom which I lifted up my voice to speak and to say to those who dwell on earth.
To say to those who dwell on earth, come on.
Hear ye men of old time, and see, ye that come after, the words of the Holy One, which I will speak before the Lord of spirits. It were better to declare them only to the men of old time.
Come on.
But even from those that come after will not withhold the beginning of wisdom.
That means the Most High will actually restore or bring the information of old times to the children of the righteous. It was meant for you all to hear what you're hearing today. It wasn't just for the prophets of old time. What he gave Enoch before the flood that led to Noah's ark being saved, folks, the information that was given all the way through the prophets of the Old Testament, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all the way to David and all the kingships leading to Christ, to the disciples, all that information was stored so that you can understand how to make it through. Like our people, like Noah and his family made it through the ark that was built. Read.
Till the present day, such wisdom has never been given by the Lord of spirits as I have received according to my insight.
Come on.
According to the good pleasure of the Lord of spirits, by whom the lot of eternal life has been given to me. Now 3 parables were imparted to me, and I lifted up my voice and recounted them to those that dwell on the earth.
3 parables were given Enoch so that we can teach you in the earth. This information was given from Enoch to his son Methuselah. From Methuselah, Noah. Read.
38 verse 1. The first parable. When the congregation of the righteous shall appear, and sinners shall be judged for their sins.
And sinners shall be judged for their sins. Read.
And shall be driven from the face of the earth.
Come on.
And when the righteous one shall appear before the eyes of the righteous, whose elect works hang upon the Lord of spirits, and light shall appear to the righteous and the elect who dwell on the earth.
Light shall appear to who?
Light shall appear to the righteous and elect who dwell on the earth.
Come on.
Where then will be the dwelling of the sinners?
Where then will be the dwellers of the sinners? The people who were caught up under Satan's program. Okay? Where's the place for those who denied the word? Who denied the God of Israel? And see, folks, we're beyond the time attempting to convince those who are against the Bible and who speak against the God of Israel and who speaks against Christ. We're beyond the time debating and arguing over people whether or not this book is real. The only book that can help our condition right now. If someone want to stay in darkness, you know what? I'm like, you know what? That's not my position. You have to want light to receive it. See? If you are against the light, you live in darkness. Read.
Where then will be the dwelling of the sinners, and where the resting place of those who have denied the Lord of spirits?
Come on.
It had been good for them if they had not been born.
And it says, Enoch was letting us know it's better if these people weren't even born. Those who would live today with all this knowledge out here and deny it. And what they're saying in a nutshell, they're content in the confusion. Okay? With all this stuff going on down in the earth, you would think these people would have sought for an answer. But no. This is the space in which they can do whatever they would like and satisfy their insatiable appetites and fulfill their own lusts. This is why They're not looking at this as this what you would call stupor and this time period as a place to repent. Because there's opportunity to continue in sin. I mean, this is one of the most lax pandemics I've ever seen. During the time of the pandemic, people talking about people dying and all that. OnlyFans is going on. People are down swiping and sleeping with each other all over the earth. Parties are happening. Man, what a disease. So the people that are actually partaking in this evil out here, folks, the Most High says, well, listen, I have a plan for them. I have a plan for them because they don't want me anyway. They hate me, and by default, they'll hate you. Because at the end of this day, folks, at the end of all of this, what we're seeing in this pandemic, they're going to say it's our people's fault. Those who believe in God. It's those Bible thumpers that's making it where people can't go out free and get the life they once had. They keep moving the bar. First it was, if you get tested, it's okay. Then if you get this stuff and get a certain number of people to get the stuff, then it'll be okay. But then they say, well, do you still got to wear the mask and social distance after taking this stuff? Well, yeah, you still have to. Then they say that a certain percentage of the population have to get it, and then everybody can go on about their business and we can go back to the way it was. Now they got herd immunity, as they call herd immunity, and I'm not a part of no herd because I'm not a cattle, so that's y'all. They're still saying, well, let's go knock on other people's doors and bother them. There is no end to this, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Finish reading.
Verse 3. When the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed.
When the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed, folks. And the secrets of the righteous are being revealed. Okay? The whole earth were duped. They were duped into believing that other people were the children of Israel, when the children of Israel were the same people suffering under their hands, under their foot. The truth is out there now and cannot be denied. That we are the human resource the world runs on. The children of God. We're the resource. Without us serving under these kingdoms, there would be no kingdom. And if it isn't us, it's Issachar serving under this kingdom. If it ain't Issachar, it's Ephraim. It's Benjamin. Without us, there is no kingdom. So they came forth with a campaign to suppress and to destroy us. And guess what? It's Jacob's trouble. And what we're teaching here is how to live and operate through this tribulation to make it to the other side. The devil isn't going to let up. Come on.
When the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed.
And it's being revealed.
And the sinners judged.
And the sinners judged.
And the godless driven from the presence of the righteous and elect.
Come on.
From that time, those that possess the earth shall no longer be powerful and exalted.
Those that are in position will no longer be exalted. Look at all the people you might respect and revere in this particular system. They will no longer be recognized as anything. Okay, according to God, their empire is going down. And guess what? Their God goes down with it. Satan is the God of this world. Read the 38th, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. 38 verse 4. And they shall not be able to behold the face of the holy, for the Lord of spirits has caused light to appear on the face of the holy, righteous, and elect.
Come on.
Then shall the kings and the mighty perish.
Then shall the kings and the mighty perish. These are they who have the authority over this world, folks, and it's deeper than the presidents they have put in place. Okay? The kings of this earth are the fallen ones. These are the fallen guys that really control this world. And as we come closer to the coming of Christ, they're going to begin to present themselves. Under certain instances, they will be presenting themselves in the earth. And I'm going to be going into that in the academy. The fallen gods, you're going to be hearing about portals and all those things. It's really them coming into our presence and us interacting with them. Just like we all have our own guardian angel. Well, Satan is looking to duplicate that too. It's going to be like every person under Satan will have their own little social worker. And it all links back to them. I'm going to be talking about this in the academy because a lot of things that I need to bring out, pointing out certain information, certain people in position and all that, will lose the channel if I were to break this down. But a lot of this information I was able to compile. I'm like, I'll teach it in a place in which we can actually, control. Okay, without losing our access to warn other people, because there's other people out there who haven't heard this truth yet. It's people out here who just heard us yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I don't want to cut off this access through YouTube in fear that this information might not get to those. But I'll be going into that in the academy. But go on.
Verse 5. Then shall the kings and the mighty perish, and be given into the hands of the righteous and holy.
And they shall be given into the hands of the righteous and holy. Read.
And thenceforward none shall seek for themselves mercy from the Lord of spirits, for their life is at an end.
For their life is at an end. The judgment of the fallen ones and the sinners who uphold their systems. Here's the judgment in the book of Enoch. Elder Lloyd, let's get 2 Esdras 13 and 29.
2 Esdras 13, verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
Read it again.
Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
The days come where the Most High will begin to deliver them who are upon the earth. Who are they? See, the Christian church lied to you all and told you this is the church. That's the church that's being raptured. Stop lying. It's the church. That's him coming for the church. Stop lying. The deliverance is the deliverance of God's chosen people who are scattered and serving throughout all of these empires, throughout the four corners of the earth. That's who Christ is coming to deliver. The same people that you have now made the face or target for your campaign. At the end of it, no matter what they roll out, we're the people that they're targeting. And it's like this, it's like this silent agreement that amongst the other nations. Because I have the luxury of being able to talk to other races of people. And it's like they know that this is the target and to kill off our people. They're like, listen, we don't got to worry about that. Chinese people ain't worrying about it. They're not worrying about this. Other races of people aren't worried about this. It's as if they know there's some solid agreement that don't worry about it. It's been moved off of all of us. And now we just after those particular people, which were the target people anyway. It's like some silent wink or handshake or something amongst Gentile races. Well, they're not even concerned about this campaign. But because they know it's a control mechanism to keep our people under their subjection. Read on.
Verse 30. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth.
He shall come with an astonishment to those who dwell on the earth. Christ is coming, folks. Whether you believe in him or not, he's coming. Read.
And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another.
And one what?
And one realm against another.
And one realm against another. Armageddon. Spiritual warfare, the fighting of gods against the gods who have a stronghold over our people. Over every religious institution, there's a God outside of the God of the Hebrews. The realm war is our Christ destroying the power and the control that these fallen ones has over us religiously. And that realm war has already begun. How do we know this? Many of our people are walking away from institutionalized religion and are casting off the gods of the Gentiles and coming back to the knowledge that we are the Hebrew Israelites. Come on.
32. And the time shall be when those things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed thee before, and then my son, or then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting.
Look at that, folks. Now, what's going on with the people that they'll stop fighting one another to come in one mind to come against what's coming out of the sky? I went into that a few weeks ago. Controlled people who are afraid to fight but will fight anyway. Even if they don't want to fight, what's in them will compel them. What's going on with this stuff they are administering is an initiating people into an army against our Savior. And guess what? That fight have already began in this earth against those who believe in Christ. My mother even told me, her friends told her, if she don't get it, then she can't come around them or even speak to her again. And my mother, she's been nice, cooked. She dealt with all these people. And if now the people who've gotten this stuff, for no other reason that my mother decided not to do it, has become an enemy. So that same mindset to go against people who did nothing against you will be the mind of them who with the stuff in them to turn against Christ when he returns. You got people out there now. First they told us, well, it's your own choice. It doesn't matter. Everybody got their own decision. But now it's turning now. These people now telling their family members that if they don't get it, then they're the enemy. You see how they didn't flip this thing? I thought it was just about you making sure you're safe. If you got it, why would you care if your family member didn't get it? Why would you care when you're safe? The jab have now immune you from that family member who you can invite into your home, because why? If they got it, it cannot harm you, right? To show you the backwards thinking of these people who are choosing this. See? And this stuff is really showing the intent of people's heart. It's showing what was always in them concerning other people, folks. And now they're able to have a built-in excuse to now execute their venom and their vitriol against you. These are anti-Christ. And while the Christians are telling you, waiting on one anti-Christ, we got someone getting jabbed right now and turning into one. Come on. Almost done.
It says, and an innumerable multitude, verse 34, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this, my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto fire.
That's right. The law will judge all those who rejected the truth. At the very end, when Christ returns, Christians and all these other people alike who claim they were religious are going to sit back and claim, you was in church claiming the law was done away with, right? Right? But then Christ is going to have the righteous, all of the righteous behind him with that same law you've denied, to judge you out of that same record that was in front of you daily. And Christ's going to be like, well, hey, the Bible was there the whole time in the church, and y'all claim that my Father's law was done away with. Get away from me, you workers of iniquity, for I never knew you. Burn in hell, and there should be wailing and gnashing of teeth. The same law that most religions is denying will be the same law God will judge mankind with. And who's bringing the judgment? The Son of Man, Christ. So you Christians out there, get it together. Get it together. If you believe the law is done away with and you can eat what you want and act as you want, guess what? That same Christ you claim you believe will reject you. You will be rejected. One other thing I wanted to show. Here it is right here. Last but not least, the new variant. Hold on. Thank you, Elder, for sending me this. The new variant that they claim that's out there is called what? The Delta variant. The Delta variant. Look at your screen, brothers and sisters. Delta launches new energy efficient solutions for 5G and Lot Edge. Delta is actually a company that connects the world digitally and also is linked directly with the 5G towers. With the 5G towers. So when they say a Delta variant is here, it's because those who got the stuff in them, the magnetized ones and got all that stuff up in them, you got it. You got it. They'll be able to turn on these machines to exhibit some of the symptoms of the new variant. To bring to life a need for more shots. More shots. So when they understand this is a military protocol, Delta, linking directly with utilities and doing what? Integrating all of the world digitally. People with machines. Delta. The Delta variant. And you will see this. What is this? You will see this on the majority of 5G towers. See that? You see the pyramid, delta, and you see a portal between the earth going out into the heavens, the sides of the north. A portal where Lucifer said he would go and sit on the throne of the Most High and be like the Most High. The plan is to eventually get him from out of earth to there. So when you hear them saying that they have a new variant, Delta, that's a signal, brothers and sisters, that they're now in the next phase of their program, going into the mark of the beast. So every variant you hear them speak about, this is actually dog whistling to those who know, in these different countries to move to the next phase of this. They're at the Delta phase now. They went from the Corona phase to the Delta phase. So every variant you hear is a dog whistle. Okay? That they're about to transition into the next stage to destroy the children of Israel. Okay? So don't get alarmed. Only the simple is out there repeating everything they hear on TV. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I thought everything was going to loosen up. They said things were going to loosen up, but there's a Delta variant now. They want to keep kicking the can down the road, folks. And don't forget, a little over a year ago, they told us that all of this will be over in 2 weeks. Have you forgotten? They told us we stay in our house for 2 weeks and everything was going to be cool. Nope. We must live through the tribulation. We must live through that. So that concludes our lesson. We're gonna say the Lord's Prayer real quick. You enjoy your Sabbath. Stay prayed up. Get your houses in order, because it's going to be just like it was when they go into a phase of shutting things down. One day all the business is going to be open. Then the next day they're going to come with an emergency. And they're going to be doing this soon, probably in the fall or next fall. They'll shut things down and tell you, well, listen, everything is shut down real quick and no businesses. So there's nothing to do anyway. And when that happens, it's going to be it's going to get deep. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at this administration right now, I believe things are really going to be ramped up. Really going to be ramped up in the time stamp when we get to around 2025. It's going to be between 2025 and 2033 is when things really heighten to a degree in which where the earth is at a number, is at a controlled number to where they don't have to lie anymore. That they can engage the whole earth militarily. I believe that's going to be the time period where the people have been actually called down to a controlled number. I really believe that. I believe in like 2-3 years, they're going to have the earth under a total stupor where their minds isn't right. And many people are already dead already. That now they can now just control people through sheer military might. I believe though, in between that period, about 3-4 years from now, it's going to really kick in. But we cannot operate as if we have that amount of time. Okay? We can't operate. We have to understand anything that we're going to do, we have to do now while we have life or breath, because tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, because the day got enough evils in of itself. Okay? Make sure your house have provisions. And it doesn't matter if the stores are open. That's just telling you to get more to store. For when it's all out, you're not going to be able to go to those stores. So if the stores are open, that's meaning, well, okay, I'm still going to get an extra canned good. I'm still going to get more water, because they're not going to tell us exactly when they're going to shut things out or shut things down. So even though it seemed like things went back to normal, brothers and sisters, no. They're in another phase because people started to push back. So they had to do one phase until they can no longer convince the people to stay under it and loosen it up now so that they can now prepare the earth for the next phase. But don't act as if this stuff isn't going to go down. No access to water or food. It's coming. In the meantime, brothers and sisters, get your family in order, your children in order. Okay? And before they switch out the passports, get yourself a physical passport as one of the key points of identification, along with the many levels of identification you might have already. Have it all up under your belt so that if you need to flash or do something, you're not limited. Okay? Not to limit you being able to travel when you get, the sign or the message to, well, here's some areas that you can actually go to, operate, especially those within the church. We got churches all over the earth where we'll have refuge and food for those who are within the body. But that still is not going to they're still not going to preclude us from telling you, even if you're not a part of a church, here's the areas that you'll be fine in, where it'll still be existing by the time Christ returns. Okay? If you would like to yourself, go to Isaiah the 11th chapter, and it'll show you all the areas that will still be intact. Not to say they won't be under some level of order, because it told Baruch that the whole earth will experience this. So it's not like you're going to just flee from tribulation. Tribulation is all throughout the earth. But those areas in Isaiah the 11th chapter are areas that we know our people will be gathered out of at the very end of this. Okay? So we have today, and if it be the Most High's will, tomorrow. Think they want everybody to stay lax and put your guard down for a reason. If the stores are open and putting stuff up, you're still grabbing an extra canned good, some water. You're still getting barrels and making sure you can store water and put the preserve in the water so that you can have a big tank of water for you and your family so that you can bathe and clean yourself off on a daily basis while they out there running around like fools now that the internet has been shut down. The stores have been shut down. Okay? Now you're ready. You got your children washed every day. You got a little water for food. You got your rice. You got your beans. You are ready. You have your constitutional protection so that someone cannot come and take what belongs to you. On top of that, if you're living in a country in which you cannot get constitutional protection, then listen, whatever. But still have a way to protect what you have stored, so that you're not out there while the chaos is happening, and so that the Most High can now give you the next phase in you moving your people into your house into safety. Okay? With that, stay prayed up, sin not. Let's say the Lord's Prayer, and we wish you all a blessed Sabbath. Thank you.
AHAYAH,
AHAYAH,
Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Yeshaya,
Yeshaya,
Warawak,
Warawak,
our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
On earth.
On earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not to temptation.
And lead us not into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
Amen.
Amen. Bless you, brothers and sisters, and don't fear. The Most High is with you. Do the right thing by keeping His commandments, and above all, get your house in order. Get in proximity of your children and guide them, because they are, you got it, the future for Israel, for this world. Shalom.
Shalom.
matter of fact, I got to go to Zion. I want something a little bit more laid back. Bless you.
To Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way. Place my feet, Lord God, my path, show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye includes